Welcome back to Viewpoint. So we've just heard in the last segment from Professor John Hibbing and his research on hormones and their influences on our political landscape. Now to discuss their own hormone levels and other issues of the day, I am joined by our esteemed panel of experts. Political satirist, host, and creator of the award-winning news parody series Absurdity Today on the Young Turks Network, Julianna Forlano. Welcome back. Comedian and author of the very entertaining You'll Be Swell. It's the exceedingly swell Jim David, and winner of the Andy Kaufman Award and dubbed the hardest working man in comedy by the New York Daily News. That title actually belongs to Andy Dick's bail bondsman, comedian Harrison Greenbaum. Welcome back to the show, all y'all. So, military leaders are ready to begin tearing down the remaining walls that have prevented female Americans from holding thousands of combat and special ops jobs near the front lines. Under details of the plan obtained by the AP, women could start training for the Army Rangers by mid-2015 and as Navy SEALs a year later. So, since you are the one woman on the panel, are there roles, Julianna, physical roles that women just can't fulfill, say hand-to-hand combat?
I think if a woman can pass whatever the physical test is in order to make it into those positions, then she'd be able to handle hand-to-hand combat.
Is this equality, for the right for women to go and fight and die in possibly illegal, immoral wars?
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah, you want equality, this
point.
is it.
Yeah.
But I mean, they can do anything except parallel park.
Oh,
as long as they don't have that.
Oh, he went there.
I had to go there.
My genitals do not
park. I don't know what that means.
From
Yes, women cannot parallel park. I'm sorry.
We're talking about women here, right? They shoot people out of their body. They see blood once a month, regardless of combat.
Thank
they
you.
should be in war.
Exactly right. Thank you. So will this affect
Yeah.
recruitment? If women can actually join the Navy SEALs?
You know, I heard enlistment is totally down, and I don't think it is going to affect recruitment. I think women know better, maybe, than to want to get involved. People know that these wars are for things like oil. They're not necessarily, you know, imperialism and all that stuff. They're not necessarily the kind of wars that maybe women are going to want to get behind. The
That's
kind
right.
of thing that would
I think
bring.
they
Oh,
should.
it's
I
too
think
bad,
that's the
girls.
beauty
You
of
don't
it.
get to die in Iran or Syria. Okay, don't go away. My panel is sticking around, and after we'll be talking about masturbating fetuses. A sentence I never thought I'd say. We'll be right back. Congressman Michael Burgess, Republican of Texas, has made the argument that terminating a pregnancy after 15 weeks is immoral because fetuses are already masturbating in the womb. Before 15 weeks, I should say. Now, I've always felt that self-pleasure begins at conception. And I guess this explains why babies are crying when some of them come out of the womb, because they desperately just want to get back in there. Personally, I've heard that female babies in the womb don't masturbate, but they already have the ability to say, "What are you thinking about?" I know that the topic of masturbating fetuses is not something that easily lends itself to comedy, but nevertheless, why don't we turn it over to our returning panel of political comedians, Julianna Forlano, Jim David, and Harrison Greenbaum. Now, my friends,
I'm
Republicans...
so glad I'm here on this particular day.
I'm glad you're here, too, Jim.
I mean, the day that the hashtag masturbating fetuses is trending is a sign of the apocalypse.
You know
or comedy
that
heaven,
you
whatever.
live in freedom, yes. Well, our Republican friends have said some ridiculous things about reproduction, but this really takes the placenta. You know, in fairness, I want to explain what the congressman actually meant, because I do think he could have made a good point were it not so hilarious. He is a GYN. He is a doctor.
Well, where did he get his doctorate from? Harold and Kumar's School of Gynecology?
His point is that he said he has seen male fetuses putting their hands between their legs, and he said that proves that at 15 weeks they experience pleasure, which means they experience pain. So I think he started off trying to make a very legitimate argument about what abortion does and what a fetus can feel. But then it got hilarious.
It's sonogram porn.
Harrison, what could a baby in utero be fantasizing about? It'd be so erotic amidst the amniotic fluid.
Oh, it's horrible to think about. I guess he hears his mom and dad doing it. Like, that's horrifying. But also, once you notice that the baby's masturbating, shouldn't you like turn off the sonogram machine? Like, isn't that kiddie porn at that point?
Give him a little privacy. Yeah. Get a womb, man. Get a womb.
Get a womb.
If he's masturbating in there, I kind of want to know what else they're doing. Are they throwing craps? What's happening? They're gambling,
Texting his other
smoking.
friends.
Well, leaving aside the fact that the single scene inside her womb is rather bleak and it's a tough place to meet girls, and that someone should probably start a dating site called OK Fetus. Leaving all that aside, what kind of moral landscape is this congressman imagining? Did you ever think we'd see a congressman using masturbation as the reason against Roe v. Wade?
Well, it's the first time I've ever heard somebody in the GOP be in favor of masturbation, you know. But I just think this is so rich. It's like if women are sitting in a circle in Lamaze classes, are the fetuses having a circle jerk? That's a question.
Well, it's true. Thank you for that imagery. Al Jazeera is going to cancel us. Isn't it weird that a Republican abortion opponent is saying that fetuses are already sinning in the eyes of the Lord before they're even born? Is this original sin or is this pre-original sin?
Yeah, it's pre-original.
Genesis 38, 8 through 10 is if he spilled his semen on the ground, so he put him to death.
Yes, but that story you're quoting is the story of Onan from the book of Genesis. And in that story, his brother was killed by God. God said, go impregnate your brother's widow. He started doing it, didn't feel right.
Pulled out.
He stopped and spilled it. So he was disobeying a direct order from the commander-in-chief.
This guy's way ahead of you on the
but it's
Bible.
interesting because that story has been
guys are
misinterpreted over
really-
centuries to say that masturbation is wrong. So now you've got a Republican, a conservative Christian Republican saying, no, that's not what makes the angels cry, and that's going to be our way to overturn Roe v. Wade. Will he have any traction, Juliana?
Well, I hope not. I mean, the whole issue, as a woman talking about this issue, is where is the mother in all of this? Where is the woman? I mean, if they skew the discussion so that it's whether or not the fetus feels pain and when the fetus feels pain, the mother is completely removed from that, and the woman's right to choose is not even part of that conversation. So they're taking they're just reductionistically looking at one piece. I want
to thank you for making one dignified point this entire segment. And speaking of abortion on social media today, no, it's actually very true, because he never talked about the mother's feelings whatsoever. But I did point out that the majority of Americans do support abortion rights, and so I asked if you thought the GOP could still win by remaining anti-Roe when 77% of Americans, according to Gallup, support some or all abortion rights. On my Facebook page, Brent Collins wrote, I think both sides would be better off adopting a how can we prevent abortion stance because really no one wants there to be more abortions. That is great advice to both the GOPs and Democrats that would lead to a much more civil discourse about this divisive issue, so don't expect it to ever happen. But I put it to you guys. Wouldn't that be the right tactic to take? I mean, to say that abortion's not a problem, it's a symptom of a problem. Unwanted pregnancy is the problem. Or are we just so locked into this pro-choice, pro-life puppet show because it raises lots of funds for both parties?
Well, you know what? See, this is one of the reasons why I've never really had an opinion on abortion, because I don't have a vagina. And I think that men should be taken out of the equation altogether in this issue. I think that personally, I just think the only man that should have an opinion about abortion is the father of the kid. He should have a say-so, you know?
Harrison?
I mean, I think I have a right to opinion. I mean, I think women have a right to their body in the same way I have a right to my opinion, and that's really important. But yeah, preventing abortion is good, so we should award the masturbating fetus for getting a head start.
Well, preventing unwanted pregnancy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the problem. That's what we're suffering
What
from.
will they do if they don't have this wedge issue and then they're losing the immigration thing?
They did this. Yeah. Don't you think they did this strictly because they're playing to their base of Christian conservatives? They knew it wasn't going to go through. I mean, it's like Michelle Bachmann. It's the latest useless bill that she championed.
Exactly right.
You know, they knew it wasn't going to go. They know it's not going to go through.
They know it's not going to pass the Senate.
But they say, well, we tried. And where is their laser-like focus on jobs, and the economy? No, but they go right for the fetus.
Exactly right.
They supplanted a real bill, though. They were supposed to bring the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, which was going to give maternity rights. And that's what they supplanted with it, which is horrifying. They saw a pregnant lady and were like, we should just do abortion instead. Like that's
I think
not
if
what
the
was
House
supposed to be the point.
continues to do bills that aren't going to get anywhere, then they're just doing like a kind of masturbation themselves. I mean, they could be using their time.
I appreciate the comeback,
wisely.
but this bill is going somewhere. It's not going to the president's desk. It's going straight into fundraising emails.
Yeah.
That all these guys are going to send back home, and that's how abortion will continue to be a major issue.
That's why it's so depressing, because it's all become this theater. It's like, do the freaking job. Where's the, it's all these grandstanding and all of it's like a big girly show.
Campaign finance
without
reform.
the polls.
Exactly right. However, I will say we're a few blocks away from Times Square. Actual theater, unlike the GOP,
With polls.
creates jobs.
That's right.
I want to thank this sensational panel. You've all been very good sports. Julianna Forlano, Jim David, and Harrison Greenbaum. Up next, it's Paul McCartney's 71st birthday. So he's way past wondering if we'll still need him and still feed him when he's 64, but you don't want to miss it. Stick around.